sometimes on the surface, you want to feel confident, but you just can think of so many things that went wrong in your life and so many betrayals, and that leaks energy as well, okay? So just know that the way that you feel about yourself is going to be more powerful than anything that I could share with you. And that's why I started off talking about the mind and reprogramming your mind and your mindsets. It's okay to lack confidence about certain things. And if you got stories playing in your mind that eat away at your confidence, that's why I talk to you about PRP, the positive reframe practice. You want to use that so that you can reprogram the mind to accept a new belief that you actually are valuable and you actually are worthy, even when you don't feel like it, okay? And I want you to choose one act of charity, and this is going to seal the deal. This is you taking the energy work that you have done and actually taking action in the 3D matrix. And this is what's going to like layer on top of layer on top of layer. So now you're using your body along with your mind to create the outcome that you desire. And so this is going to be really, really helpful for you. That charity could be giving to somebody that you know is in need. That charity could be making a donation to the Salvation Army. That charity could be giving a meal to a homeless person. I mean, it's endless ways that you can be charitable, okay? But one act of charity that's going to seal the deal, and that's also going to clear karmic debt, okay? Now, as far as the actual petitioning process, that's it. That's what you'll be doing. And this is going to help to recalibrate you. This is going to help to position you so that you're able to finally receive what's your birthright. It's your birthright. And I get it. It can be hard, especially when for a long time, you know, maybe you heard your parents or your grandparents say things, you know, like, I ain't got enough money for that. If you heard that a lot, your subconscious mind has that narrative playing in it. Even if your conscious mind is using affirmations, you can't outrun your subconscious beliefs. You can't out-manifest your subconscious beliefs. The key to healing, receiving, clearing anything is reprogramming the subconscious mind, okay? So, you know, the 3D matrix has this code where it says you have to work hard. You can't attract what you deserve. You know, you got to work for it. But sometimes it's just feeling like you deserve it that's going to allow you to have it. You know, you will attract what you believe subconsciously. So using affirmations is helpful, but if you emotionally don't feel aligned with that affirmation, it's not going to be effective for you. So starting small is a good way to do this. You don't want to go from feeling worthless and like you'll never be able to get out of debt to saying an affirmation of, I am a millionaire. It's too big of a jump. And that just sets you up to feel disappointed about yourself, which eats away at your confidence. So instead, I kind of call this like reversing affirmations, because I'll take something that I might be dealing with energetically that's not in alignment with prosperity and use my pendulum and figure out a way to reverse it. And so one of the things that I got as an affirmation to use that was really helpful, and I still use it, which is, I am worthy of money because money is worthy of me. And there's a difference. You're not asking to be a millionaire. You're not making a huge jump from one thing to other. You're saying, no, I'm worthy of this. And money is worthy of me. Because you add value to anything that comes into your life. You have life force energy inside of you. Your body is working right now and you don't have to think about it to do it. That's how valuable you are. That the universe is going to do these things for you in an automatic way because you're here in divine timing. So I'm worthy. And just work on feeling worthy. I'm worthy. I'm really worthy of what I desire. I'm worthy of what I desire. Yeah, it might be stuff happening in my life that might be making it seem like it's another way, but that's the 3D matrix job. It's just mirror back to me, the bullshit. But I don't have to believe it. I'm worthy of what I desire. Yeah, I am an asset to money. I am an asset to better health because I can be in service. I can be in alignment with the new energy that's coming into this world to shift paradigms. And this is how you build up your self-esteem. All right. Now, another thing that is really important is to make sure that you're playing this mantra every day. If you can do this for at least 21 days, you will start to see a difference. I haven't had one client yet who did these things for 21 days and nothing changed, not one. So I don't want you to think that you are too messed up for this to work for you, okay? Because the universe is not judgmental like that. The universe responds to the universal laws. So simply by being dedicated and repeating these same routines, you're able to shift your mindset. Because if you tell me that there is something that you desire, but your routines don't reflect that in any way, you're not going to ever achieve whatever it is that you desire. You must make sure that your daily routines on repeat are moving you in the direction that you desire to go in. And it can be difficult to figure out, well, what routine is going to be best for me? And this is also why I created the Turn Pain into Purpose course. And I actually give you morning and evening routines. And I make it where it's tweakable to make it work for you. All right. So please, please, please do not forget, what we do consistently is what we will receive. All right. So how consistent you are determines the outcome. Now, another thing that I wanted to talk about was some of the things that, really get us in a space of being stuck. Okay. But let's just say you haven't learned how to say no yet, usually out of fear or obligation. Maybe you grew up in a way where people did things that caused you to feel guilty. I know for me, my specific genetic trauma is guilt. And so I have sold contracts with people and even parents who shamed me and took me on guilt trips around being selfish. And so I became a martyr. I became a savior because of my fear of being seen as selfish. So a lot of times you could do something that's helpful, that's charitable even, but if it's being motivated by feeling obligated, or if it's being fueled by guilt, then the outcome of what you're doing is not going to be prosperous, because the energy, everything is about the energy in which the action is originating is from a place of fear, and that's directly opposite of love, abundance, and prosperity. So you want to check yourself and see, am I doing this out of obligation? And for a lot of women, having sex out of obligation, just because you've been programmed to feel like It's your responsibility, and you're obligated to do this no matter how you feel. That's something that we inherited. That's something that our mamas and grandmamas did. And like, if I was to give you a 10 commandments to use around self-worth, one main thing would be never share your body when you do not feel safe. Never trade your energy for crumbs of safety, because sometimes we have a subconscious belief that if I don't fulfill this other person's needs, if I don't make them happy, if I don't relieve their stress, they may not see value in me. They may leave me. They may cheat on me. And that could be possible. But I would rather be in integrity with myself, treating my body like I know my body is a temple. My body is a living altar and it's valuable. I would rather be alone and have my integrity, have my value, have my sense of self-worth, than to be with somebody and I'm having to have sex with them out of obligation. Do you know how many of us was conceived in fear? How many of us were conceived out of obligation? And I could get into religion and talk about that forever, and how it programmed us to do things out of feeling obligated to do so. So I would say, keep an eye out for that. It's easier said than done. And when you feeling like, and you and your boss bitch energy, and you like, please, I ain't doing that. But sometimes things can get so rocky in relationships to where you feel like sex is the only thing that will make it better. And I mean, they use entertainment, they use music, movies to make it seem like makeup sex was like, it just fixes everything. Just slaps the makeup sex on and it's gonna make it better. But it doesn't. And unfortunately, with religion, it also made women feel obligated, more so than men. A lot of this through the patriarchy was directed to women. And so you want to make sure that you're not treating your temple that way. The next thing is, what are you allowing to come into you? So this is eating, drinking, what you entertain yourself with. If what you allow to come into you doesn't align with how you want to feel about yourself, right? So if you're eating things that cause guilt, that's going to keep you in a vibrational frequency of lack. And the universe is going to mirror that back to you because you're an energetic match. Rupert Sheldrake talks about morphogenetic fields. And that basically is broken down as you can only receive what you are a vibrational match for. So if you are someone who does things out of feeling guilty, you will find yourself eating things that lead to you feeling guilty. And it keeps you as a vibrational match to more things that create guilt. Okay? And guilt is a very heavy energetic burden that pokes holes in our auric field. And the most easiest person to manipulate is a person that feels guilty. The easiest person to turn into a narcissistic supply is someone who feels guilty. And, for those of us who are mothers, even simple things like doing things for ourselves, we can feel guilty for that. Taking a day off, whatever it may be. And I'm sure that y'all can relate to this. So that leads me to the next step. Make a list of things that cause you to feel guilty. Start paying attention to that. Pay attention to whether or not you're doing things out of obligation, or is it genuinely something that you feel aligned and want to do. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't really want to talk about this part for a while because I kept saying to myself, so many women have conditioned their partners to feel entitled to their body. If they start saying no, it's going to create some type of chaos. And I don't want to be given information that's going to create chaos. But you know what the alternative is? The alternative is you having that chaos trapped inside of your body in an effort to assimilate, acquiesce, and make somebody else comfortable who's responsible for their own self. We are not responsible for other people's happiness. We are not responsible for managing other people's stress levels. We are adults, and we are responsible for managing our own happiness, managing our own stress levels. And so those are some of the things, that I had to face, and I had to have courage. I thought it was going to be easy, but it was not. The mind has been colonized. The body has been raped and pillaged for so many generations. For a lot of us, that's an epigenetic thing. That fear is really deep. You don't want to be abandoned. And if you're in a situation where, whatever your partner, whatever they bring to the table, so to speak, and you're like afraid, well, what happens if they're no longer bringing that to the table because they're not happy with me because I'm not taking on their stress anymore? Like, you're going to just stay stuck in that cycle. So this requires courage. To reprogram your reality, it's going to require you to be somebody that you might be afraid to be. And you can do it gradually. You can do it little by little. Okay? Again, this is about taking baby steps. Because if you try to do too much too fast, it's just going to disempower you more and cause you to feel worse. And trust me when I tell you, that rage and the level of resentment and pain that you feel behind overgiving, doing things out of obligation, and feeling like you're being guilt tripped into stuff, that rage and resentment and frustration will create so many leaks in your auric field that even if the universe is sending you opportunities and sending you things that you have petitioned and prayed for, you're not going to be able to keep it. You're not going to be able to keep it. All right. So I went through some of these things, and the next thing that I wanted to say was, who are your spiritual parents that were assigned to you based on your birth name and numerology of your birth name? That's so important, because the spiritual parents are the ones that were put in place in your soul contract to help reparent you after your spiritual awakening. And just like with the pendulum, this is a relationship that you build by spending time with, giving gratitude for, and getting to know them better. And I had somebody that takes the course share something with me that was so powerful. And I'm going to share some of that with you all, because a lot of it was just, you can't make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. But this is what one of the clients said. She said, and this is the meditation that I have in there, because reprogramming the subconscious mind using meditation and visualization and active imagination based on Carl Jung's teaching is a hack as well. Okay. And again, that's in the course. But she said that she really loved the meditation. The music had the right frequency to connect with her energy. And she loved being able to connect with the child version of herself. The kind words that were poured over her was something that she had always needed. And she said that the yoga routine, because I give an easy 10-minute yoga routine that you can do just sitting in your bed. You don't even need a yoga mat. Again, simplicity. Our nervous system already has been through a lot. We need simplicity. And somatics controls what we manifest. Somatics is the memory that's trapped within the physical body, which is your temple. Okay? You can't outrun the genetic traumatic imprints within the body. You have to deal with that. And so she said doing the yoga before the meditation allowed her to reach a higher level of self-love and taking care of her body. And she could feel the release happening in her muscles. And then when she took the empath quiz in the course, she said that, she thought something was wrong with her. And when she took the quiz, she scored a 20 out of 20. And, she said that sometimes she would feel the depth of other people's sadness, and it would lead to her being depressed. And she felt alone and misunderstood and like she didn't belong anywhere. And can you relate to that? Because I definitely can relate to that. And she said that being sensitive this way sometimes would lead to her absorbing other people's pain, and she would think that it was hers. She wouldn't know the difference between hers and theirs. And she said that she would experience this unexplained sadness, this guilt, frustration, and anger. And it would lead to her allowing people to walk all over her, because when you feel guilty, asserting yourself and boundaries, that's the last thing that you're gonna do. Because the ego, the wounded inner child, is gonna take over and say, no, you need to do whatever you gotta do to feel safe. And so whatever defense mechanisms you learn as a child, that's usually what you're going to use to create safety, which means you're not going to push back. You're not going to be assertive. You're not going to say, I don't like the way that you're speaking to me, and we're going to talk about this at another time. Just that simple phrase that can be really hard for some of us. And she said that by being able to work through some of these things and being more grounded, focusing on spiritual cleansing, her nutrition and gratitude, spending time in nature, reflecting on her inner beauty. She was like, I was able to start choosing people who would respect my boundaries and who would treat me as if my time was valuable. And I mean, again, so many of us do you ever have people who don't respect your time? And like you keep giving signals that like you need to go or you need to get off the phone, they just keep going. Well, that's a sign that you're giving out a frequency that says, I don't respect myself, I don't respect my time, and they're not. And it's not always your fault, it's not always their fault. It don't matter whose fault it is, but it's up to you to change it. Now, back to the spiritual parents, because all of this is connected, because your spiritual parents are the ones that are overseeing these spiritual experiences. She says one thing that stood out once she did the numerology that I give in the course, she read that Shu and Tefnu was her spiritual parents, and they're represented as lion and lioness. And in lion form, they're a symbol of protection. She said 2 weeks before her dad transitioned, she dreamed about lions. And she said that she was living in an apartment where the lions roamed free outside, and it was dozens of lions. And she said that she was handing them raw meat, and it was just, her hands was full of it. And she looked over and saw the front door was wide open, and standing there was a big lion with a full, beautiful mane. And the lion, she said the lion walked up to her and opened his mouth over her hand and then closed it. So basically she's feeding these lions. She said my right hand was inside of his mouth. With my left hand free, I was yelling for my children to grab the steaks in the dream. I moved to the next scene like a movie, and I was telling a friend about this big, beautiful lion that had my hand in his mouth, and I was alive to tell about it. She said after her dad passed, she visited his home, and in his garage, it was 2 lion statues and a tapestry with a lion on it. You see what I mean? These experiences don't happen because you hope for them to. There are specific practices that's going to allow these experiences to happen. Now, Shu is, the god of air and associated with cycles of birth and death and rebirth, success. And I gave her some information about that. But once you find out who your spiritual parents are, then you do the bonding. You go through the bonding and getting to know them so that they can assist you. And another thing, if your mind Because sometimes it's hard for us to believe in something we cannot see. So having synchronicities, having these dreams will help you to have more faith in the invisible. And this is going to help you feel more protected, which is going to give you the strength and courage to create boundaries. And maybe in the beginning, when you can't assert boundaries yourself, your guides, your spiritual parents, their energy in your energy field, because you're conscious of them and you're connected to them through your conscious mind, bringing them from the subconscious to the conscious mind, their energy will start to work on your behalf and help you until you're strong enough to do it for yourself. So those are some of the main things that you can do to really transform whatever you might be experiencing. And I was directed to pull a card for this particular workshop. I'm going to use my Kali Oracle deck to pull this card. And if you would just, I know that you have learned a lot, and it's okay. This will be available for you to replay anytime and take notes. But if you would just take a deep breath. Exhale. Just become fully present. Allow your belly to receive that breath. Breath is literally the energy of the Akash, the ethers. It is life force, our connection to life force that tethers us to this thing called life. And do another inhale so that your nervous system is able to receive the information that I'm about to share with you. Inhale. Exhale. Hope y'all making some sound when you exhale. Sound is so sacred. Make sound. That's the frequency of your soul. Your voice is the frequency of your soul. All right. What guidance do you have? Okay, one more time. What guidance do you have to share? Okay. I pulled Shadashi, and Shadashi is one of the more rare ones that I don't usually get. So I'm going to read to you about Shadashi. And as you can see, Shadashi has a lotus flower in her hand, and we know lotus is enlightenment. All right. Ruby red with the divine juice of life, she nourishes the body, the mind, and the soul with vitalizing pleasure, life, and joyfulness. Goddess Shadashi restores self-esteem and an awareness of your innate value, especially after a time of painful rejection or disappointments. Through her blessings, the desires of the heart can find fulfillment in new ways. She brings divine energy for the manifestation of wishes. Her presence is an indication of inner power to restore yourself and attract what you need into your life. Shadashi is the fertile and creative aspect of Lalita Tripura. Red colored skin and the vibrance is feminine life force. She is the power to actualize desires. In color, healing from Hinduism and Buddhism, red is medicine for attraction magnetism. The appearance of Shadashi in a reading indicates a time when your ability to attract what you want is heightened. You can be relaxed and trusting in your capacity for magnetically drawing all you desire into your world. In the tantric teachings of Kali Ma, desire is not something to be afraid of, but something that can become part of our spiritual path. The benefits of developing the character traits required for manifesting desire, such as relaxation, trust, enjoyment, delight, and bliss, as well as discipline, commitment, determination, focus, and a positive attitude, encourage us onward, but so that we don't give up before attaining success. From our successes, we will come to realize that within one desire lies the seed of another. Eventually, the nature of desire is realized as a pathway rather than about the thing